to align your life with Cultivate and Thrive. My name is Michelle Gunn, and I will be your hostess today for Cultivate to Thrive podcast. I am here to help you align your life with Christ and all that makes you the wonderful person you are. We need to know ourselves so we can strengthen ourselves and be the best servant leaders we can be. I invite you to listen and participate today with this episode and every episode forthcoming. I invite you to check out my book that I am a contributing author on, international bestseller, Divine Blueprint, Faith in God for Unbounded Success. You can find it on Amazon, and I have links to share. Also, you can find me on pathos.com. My column, Graceful Awakening, talks about things that will be near and dear to your heart as they are to mine. You can check me out on my website, michellegunn.com, 1L, 2 N's, michellegunn.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find my company page, Cultivate and Thrive, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Welcome to this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. Drop in the comments who you are, when you're joining from. If you're watching replay, use hashtag replay. I love seeing how everyone joins and reading your comments. Just a little bit of, information. So I think StreamYard is currently the platform I use, has done some upgrades. I had issues connecting with Facebook, although it showed it was going to be on Facebook, but now it doesn't show my comments are going there. For some reason, comments aren't syncing well with LinkedIn anymore. Maybe time to look for a new platform. Anyway, so if I don't see you, respond to you vocally, or highlight your comment, it's because I don't see it. So I'm sorry for that, but welcome. The question for today, are you the best person you were created to be? Now, I think I often talk about this subject in very different ways. Sometimes it's straight flat out, and sometimes it's roundabout by having you think about who you are, how you are, things that you do, how you treat yourself, how you treat others. But we often hear it all the time. Be a better you. I like that saying myself. So, what does that mean? So, for me, those who have read any of my story or have conversed with me about my story, you know that I lacked a lot of self-confidence growing up. I was very timid. I was very unsure of myself. Um, had no clue really who I was, actually, even up until adulthood. Didn't really know myself. And although I did manage to build up my self-confidence when I was a teenager using self-affirmations. At that time, I didn't know what it was, but I knew how to do it, and I did that. But I still struggled the majority of my life with self-confidence, and of course, I still do occasionally. You hear the term imposter syndrome a lot. That's tossed around a lot. I personally do not like the term because it's labeling something that already exists. It's something that we already deal with. What is imposter syndrome? It's when people think they're not good enough. They don't believe they deserve something. I don't think that needs a title. I think that all comes down to self-confidence, knowing who you are, and knowing your value. And there are many people in the world that you see today that come across strong and confident, but deep inside, it's not there. It's an act. So don't feel timid, don't feel jealous, don't compare yourself to others. What's important is who you are, who you are, who you are created to be, and how you live that, and how you grow each and every day. That's kind of what my focus is today. So let's talk a little bit about who you were created to be. So there's a difference between who the world tells us we are and who God tells us we are. And I did drop two scriptures in the comments. At least I did it manually on LinkedIn and I did it here, which I know went to my YouTube, but I'm not sure if it shows up in Facebook. But it's Psalm 139, verse 14. And if I can open my Bible, I do have it marked. So it is, I praise you. So wonderfully you made me. Right. So we know that God made us wonderful. God made us in his image. We are creations that are to be unique and to serve a specific purpose. The world often tells us you need to be well rounded. Um, they often tell us who we should be, what our skills should be, and that begins at home with our parents. Now, I'm not saying that any of this is intentionally cruel or trying to make us unsuccessful. Most of it comes from good intention, but it's people not understanding really why we are who we are. We're not created to be well rounded. Well rounded means you don't need anybody else. You can do everything. We hear the term often, you can do anything you want to be. Now, there are cases when there are people when they put their mind to do something, they can do almost anything. However, it's not as good as someone who has natural talent, nor is it as easy. Why should you struggle at something that you're not good at when you're good at something that you can excel at? That goes back to my Clifton Strengths training, right? We want to look for what's good and right in ourselves and improve upon that and see how we can contribute these gifts and talents to make the world a better place. I also want to talk about Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know well the plans I have in mind for you, says the Lord. Plans for your welfare, not for woe, plans to give you a future full of hope. There is still a lot of hopeless in the world today. People went through a lot during COVID, during the pandemic, and people are still suffering from the aftermath of that, right? Prices are still skyrocketing. People are still losing their jobs and they feel hopeless. Have your hope in your future that God created for you. But how do you live that? You have to know yourself. You have to know who you were created to be. You have to know your skills and talents to be the best version of yourself. Do you know who God created you to be? I want you to think about that. In fact, if you can jot that down, do jot that down. Come back to it. Do you know who God created you to be? What's the role of purpose and calling in understanding of our identity? When we know our purpose or our calling, our mission in life, whatever term you want to give it, it gives you a broad goal. Um, let's go back to dreams, right? Your dream. How do you want to make a difference? And I'm not talking. I have a Christian song that I really go back to, right? I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to hurt your ears, but I don't want to to leave a legacy. No, I'm not gonna get the words right, but it's not because you hear a lot about people wanting to leave a legacy, and that's really not what you want. You want to make an impact, a difference. You you don't want people to say I don't want people to say, "Michelle did this and this and this." I don't care. I don't care. I don't want people to say, "Oh, Michelle raised funds to build this big monument." That makes no difference because that's not making a true difference in the world. What's more important is how I impact and lift up others and build up the kingdom. So, how do I fit into that general overall purpose? What's my purpose? What's my role? Think about what's your role? What's your purpose? So, are you the best person that you can be? Right? There's an ongoing journey of growth. And in my Pathos column, Graceful Awakening, I talk about, that life is faith is a life journey. It's ongoing. Every day we should be improving upon ourselves, giving back to our community, making someone happier and better, helping someone, even in the littlest of ways. But remember, that we are always, always in the process of becoming. What does that mean? It means we're in the process of becoming who we were created to be. And when I say that, that means God, who God created me to be, what my purpose is. To do that, I have to balance self improvement and spiritual growth because we're a whole person. We're not one part. We're not our job. We're not just our family. We're not just a spouse or a significant other. We're not just a minister. We're not just an evangelist. We're everything wrapped into one. On my website, you can read an article about the whole well being, and I talk about all the areas. Many people back away from the spiritual aspect, but that's part of us, it's part of you. So, in your growth journey and becoming every day, you need to include all aspects, your self improvement and your spiritual growth. And when I talk about self improvement, what does that mean? That means different things for every person, right? You first need to take an inventory of who you are, where you're at in life, what skills you have, what's your talents, what strengths do you have, what can you build upon. There are things that we shouldn't do. As much as I love to sing, I shouldn't. I'm not good at it. I love to do it, but I'm not good at it. So I'm not going to focus all my strength on that. I'm going to focus my strength on where my gifts and talents are. So I have this question for you to reflect on. What steps are you taking to become the best version of yourself in God's eyes? Some practical steps in that process, of course, always learn who you are, get to know yourself. You want to foster a lifestyle of intentional growth. Again, you have to know yourself to know what needs to grow and what can grow, what areas you can grow, and what's the best use of your time. Include prayer, reading, reading scripture, accountability. Oh my, this world lacks accountability. From CEOs to small business owners to the regular person. I mean, we're all regular people. But, in our everyday lives, with our families, with our significant others, with our friends, with our jobs, where's your accountability? To myself, to yourself. Where's your accountability? Have you made promises saying you're going to do things or get things done and haven't done it? That's where accountability comes in. Sometimes, many times, it helps to have an accountability partner, someone you can talk to, someone that you can trust that you can be vulnerable with, be real with, that you know won't ridicule you or make fun of you for not meeting your goals. We're all human, we all make mistakes, life happens, but own up to things. If you make a mistake, sometimes it's embarrassing. I mean, I did something the other day and I just couldn't believe I did it. But my humanity, own it. I did it. I'm sorry. Mean you're sorry. Don't say sorry if you don't mean it. And think about how you're going to fix it and move on and build upon it and become stronger. There are many, many obstacles in today's world that get in your way to becoming the best version of yourself. One of the things, one of the big things is materialism, right? Everybody wants the newer version, newer phone, a newer car, better, bigger house, still better clothes, name brand purses. There's just so many things to get that we often get caught up in getting instead of really the process of being, of just being and enjoying. We're always after the new, next best, shiny new thing. There's so many distractions today, right? Everything is shortened, short episodes, even videos needs to be short. Me, I like to get on and talk for 45 minutes to an hour without a guest. If I had a co-host or a guest, I could go on way longer than that. But attention spans are so much shorter. Plus, we're short on time because we're fitting so much stuff in. These are obstacles to really being the best you that you can be, to growing, to have a fulfilling, purposeful life. There's internal obstacles that we face every day. And over the last few years, really since COVID, I had a great opportunity to sit down, get to know people like this, but have them talk back, right? And learn new ways to grow and become a better me. I had the opportunity to spend time with myself, to get to know myself. We need to do that. I've learned, and honestly, I maybe not learned is the best word because I already knew, but I faced the fact that I have internal fear that keeps me from being successful in doing things. I just had this conversation with my husband the other day about something, and I forget. Yeah, he's going to say, "You never listen." Anyway, forget what I said, but I knew that it came from a place of fear of failure, which is huge, huge for people, that fear of failure. But what's the worst thing that can happen if you fail? You're going to start over and do it again, right? There's that doubt in ourself, our doubt in others, that insecurity that I talked about earlier, that I'm not good enough. I can't do it. And the almighty social media has brought this huge comparison. How many posts a day do you see people saying that they made $1 million and they can teach you how? Honestly, if they can make $1 million so quickly, they don't need to spend time and money to teach other people how and charge them for it because they can keep doing it over and over and over again. They could give it away and make the poor people richer, or not poor. There's so many posts saying, "I'm better than you because." Now, they don't use those words. They use words that are more appealing to drag you and pull you in, but it's a comparison to make you feel less than. You need them because you're less than them. Don't give in. Compare yourself to yourself. When you are improving, even if it's a small amount every day, you are doing great. So I want to leave you with this question. What's holding you back from being the person that you're created to be? Think about it. You can think about both the internal and the external obstacles that I gave some examples of, right? Fear, doubt, insecurity, comparison, society's expectations. I should probably talk more about that. Distractions, worldly standards. Those keep people looking for more materialistic things. I need a bigger car. I need a bigger house. I need more money. I need to eat out more. I need to go shopping. I need fancier clothes. So, what's holding you back from being the person that you're created to be? How would you overcome some of these obstacles? Well, I'll tell you right up front, coaching is a great tool to help you gain insights on yourself and to help guide you to figure out the best path to move forward. Coaching does not instruct you what to do, but guides you. It helps you find the answers from within. So remember that when people try to sell you something to instantly make you better, that doesn't happen in anything. You have to do the work. You see these exercise and diet professionals that are selling you their programs. You follow my program and you'll lose 50 pounds in so many days or whatever, or you'll go from way overweight to toned, and there's work involved. You don't hand over money and then you instantly get the results. There's work involved in everything to become better. Some of these obstacles can be really overcome with faith, with discipline. Again, I talked about the work involved. It takes discipline to keep on track to making yourself a better person, to reading every day to growing your mind, to praying every day to growing spiritually, to practicing a skill to make that skill better, stronger. And community is invaluable. You need support to overcome challenges. Chances are you're not the first one. I mean, it's almost guaranteed that you're not the first one to struggle with whatever you're struggling with. There is someone else out there who struggled with the same thing and can help you. Now, that doesn't mean that the way they did it will work for you, but they can offer a sympathetic ear, support, encouragement, and accountability. Discovering and aligning with God's intentions for your life. Have you thought about that? How to align your life with God's purpose for you. Okay. Now, I dropped a link in the comments to Avida by Vic Clisari. Read that article. Um, I even printed his graphic from the uh, Sherpa, because this is so powerful. This is, to me, what the world needs. Okay. Avida, right in the middle. You need to figure that out. That will guide you to where you're supposed to be. That will help you find your purpose. That will help you find your mission. And it's important to pray about it. And again, prayer is a discussion with God, it's communication. And communication is two ways, talking and receiving. So you have to listen, you have to hear, you have to look for signs, you have to discern, is this really from God or something else? And know that as you're reaching something good, something great, where you're intended to be, boy, are the obstacles going to hit you, because the evil does not like good to overcome. So stay strong. but use that discernment to determine if you are on the right path. Remember, God will provide tools, He'll provide people to help you. He'll provide circumstances and situations for you to learn from so that you can gain skills and tools to move forward to help others and make an impact later. So it's not a rosy, fun loving, happy go lucky journey. It's going to be work, but it's going to be worth it. You also need to trust in God's plan. Remember, God, Jeremiah 29:11. God has a plan for you. I firmly believe that. But it's finding our plan, finding our mission, finding our vision, finding our purpose, head that way, working on our talents and skills to make them stronger so that we can travel that path and that journey, so we can live that purpose. Take you back to that. Evita, look into it. And if you want, reach out to Vic. I recommend it. Remember, we are all a work in progress, but God is faithful. He'll be there to lift you up. He'll be there to provide people to support you. Sometimes your journey seems long and exhausting. Most likely, you've kind of wandered off the path. I know I've been there. I've done that. Stop and take a breath. Think about, are you on the right path? How do you get back on the path? So I want to go back over the questions I gave you for reflection. And I'm going to drop those in the comments as well, right? Um, so, do you know who God created you to be? I'm just going to drop that really quick and then I'll go put that in LinkedIn as well. Do you know who God created you to be? These aren't questions that you necessarily have an instant answer to. So I want you to realize that you can take time. And if you're a person who likes to write and journal, do that. You know, write the reflection question, leave a couple of pages. You can go back later, reread it, rewrite, scribble, whatever you need to do to get you to where you need to be. Okay, what steps are you taking to become the best version of yourself in God's eyes? So, what steps are you taking to become the best version of yourself in God's eyes? Okay. And what's holding you back from being the person you were created to be? What's holding you back from being the person you were created to be? What is God calling you to do that you've been resisting? I don't think I read that one. That's why I have an outline because I miss stuff. So, what is God calling you to do that you've been resisting? I struggled with that one. I'm telling you. It is. Very easy to ignore. What hold on. What is God calling you to do that you and it is so easy to go back in hindsight and know what you should have done, but you can't go back in time. What is God calling you to do that you have been resisting? I want to make sure that I don't have typos. So you really need to spend time and when I say you, I'm including myself in that, right? Calling you to do that you have been resisting. As you know, I mentioned just this week again in my posts that my word of the year is pivot. And I've done some pivoting and I'm still pivoting because I'm pivoting to where God is calling me to be. And some of that I have been so resisting. So I want to um, call you to do some things. Spend time in prayer and reflection this week, asking God to reveal areas where you can grow into the person He created you to be. Use these questions I provided to help you reflect on where you are, where you've been, and where you would like to go, where God is calling you to go. Where's your avatar? Where's your avatar? It's so important to be able to do that. I'd like to close with a prayer. Dear God, I ask No, dear God, first I want to express my thanks and gratitude for all you've given me and for the person you have created to be. I ask that you help me find your will, discern my gifts and talents, discern my purpose in this life. Help me to know you, to love you, to hear you, and help me to build up your kingdom as you have created me to. Show me my gifts. Show me my talents. Show me how to best interact and lift others up. God, I am your servant. Use me to make the world a better place. Please bless all in attendance and all who are not. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you so much. I ask that you share this episode to people who may need it. Or at the very least, share the questions that I've posed, the reflection questions, so that other people can benefit from it because we're given gifts and talents to share, right? They weren't meant to keep to ourselves. Great musicians, they're not meant to go in a room by themselves and play their instrument. They're meant to share it, just like with all gifts and talents. I'd love to hear some feedback on what resonated most with you. And what's one step you can take this week to align with God's vision in life for you? Have a beautiful and blessed week. Thank you.